You've probably seen the list. Maybe at a conference, maybe in a vendor deck, maybe just scrolling LinkedIn. It names a handful of factors that supposedly get you cited by AI. And next to each one says an impressive number. Something like adding FAQ markup makes you 3.2 times more likely to be cited. Here's what you may have also noticed. No two of these lists agree, and most of them never say where their numbers came from. This lesson will resolve that. We're going to walk through the real research, the actual studies, who ran them, and what they found. And more importantly, you're going to learn how to tell strong evidence from weak evidence. Because by the end of this video, you'll be able to take apart any citation claim anyone ever shows you. Let's get into it. Start with the most useful thing in this whole lesson. Research on what gets cited comes in three forms, and they're not equally strong. The first kind is experiment. This works like a drug trial. Researchers change content on purpose. They add statistics to one version and leave another version bare. Then they measure which version shows up more in AI answers. Because the change was made deliberately, the difference in results can be credited to the change itself. This is the only kind of evidence that lets you say, adding this thing causes more citations. The second kind is pattern. Researchers look at millions of real citations and report what cited content tends to have in common. The strength is the huge scale, but the weakness is serious. A pattern can only say, cited content tends to have this. It can never say, this thing caused the citation. And the third kind of research works backwards. Researchers trace finished AI answers back into the pages they cited and look at what actually got taken. Which content types, which parts of the page, how many sources. This kind tells you how the AI models read, which turns out to be gold for your writing decisions. So when someone shows you a citation claim, ask three questions. 1. Did anyone change anything on purpose, or did they just observe? 2. What else travels along with the factor they measured? 3. Is the claim about getting picked, or about getting quoted once you're picked? Those three questions sort any claim into its proper layer. And they'll save you real money. Let me show you how. Back to that claim from your inbox. Pages with FAQ markup are 3.2 times more likely to be cited. Run the questions. Question 1. Did anyone change anything on purpose? No. Nobody ran an experiment. They compared pages that happen to have the markup against pages that don't. So this is a pattern, no matter what the marketing implies. Question 2. What travels along with FAQ markup? Quite a lot, actually. Sites with that markup tend to have sophisticated content teams, newer templates, and pages already built as questions and answers. And any one of those could be carrying most of that 3.2 increase. So here's the honest verdict. The finding is worth your attention because well-structured, question-shaped content really is associated with getting cited. But the number can't justify buying that vendor's tool because the automated markup their platform adds is the cheapest and least certain slice of the whole pattern. The structure and the substance behind it, that's still your work. Now the strongest evidence there is. There's only one meaningful body of cause and effect research in this entire field, so know it well. It came from a research team led out of Princeton, the same academic work, by the way, that gave the acronym GEO its name. They took real content and made deliberately changed versions. One version with relevant statistics added, one with citations to credible sources, one with quotes from named experts, one with improved overall writing. Then they measured how each version performed in AI answers against the original. Here's what they found. Adding statistics lifted visibility by about 40%. Adding source citations had roughly the same result, around 40%. Adding quotations came in at around 28%. And notice why these numbers are special. Because the changes were made on purpose, the results can't be explained by the source's existing reputation. The change did it. Real evidence in your content, meeting numbers, sources, and name voices, makes it measurably more likely to be chosen. That is the most solid ground in this entire field. Two honest limits, though. These experiments captured particular platforms at a particular moment, and the AI products have changed a lot since. So treat the exact numbers as dated snapshots of a real effect. And you cannot stack them. You'll see decks that add 40 plus 40 plus 28 and promise you a 108% lift. The experiment never tested that. Now the pattern layer. Big numbers with a warning attached. The strongest single pattern anyone has measured is completeness. How fully a passage answers a question on its own. The link between completeness and getting cited scores 0.87 on a scale where 1 would be a perfect link. That's remarkably high, and it makes sense because these systems read passages alone. Complete passages are the ones that survive that. Beyond completeness, the big industry studies have measured what else cited content tends to have in common. SEMrush conducted one of the largest. Here's what that research found. Clear writing, associated with about 33% higher odds of citation. Signs of first-hand experience and expertise, about 31%. Question and answer formats, about 25%. And clean structure, about 23%. One more finding from this research, and it deserves its own moment. Out in the wild, content carrying statistics, sources, and quotes shows 30 to 40% higher visibility. Sound familiar? That's the same thing the Princeton experiments proved, showing up independently in real-world data. And when two different kinds of evidence agree, you're allowed to be more confident. One more finding, then a note about scale. Pages updated within the last 2 months earn about 28% more citations than staler ones. So freshness is real, and it's one of the most consistent findings across all these studies. And if you're wondering how much data sits behind this kind of research, here's the benchmark. The biggest single study belongs to the analyst Kevin Indig, who analyzed 1.2 million ChatGPT results containing 18,000 citations. So when I say these patterns come from millions of real results, that's what the scale actually looks like. One pattern deserves its own moment because it's one of the most strategically interesting findings. AI answers disproportionately draw on original research, original surveys, first-hand experience, recognized experts. In plain terms, they favor the source of the fact over the 15th restatement of it. And the reason is built into how answers get made. An AI model building an answer gains nothing from a redundant source. The 10th competent summary of known information is interchangeable with the 9th. And interchangeable content competes on reputation alone. That's a contest the biggest brands win by default. But the source that contributes a number the pool doesn't otherwise have, that source is structurally hard to leave out. And when its contribution gets used, it has to be the citation. Being unique isn't a virtue here, it's a position. Now the warning that hangs over every pattern number I just gave you. Here's the problem. Authoritative, well-funded sources do everything well at the same time. Their content is clearer, fresher, better structured, and they're independently trusted on top of all that. So in real-world data, every measured factor carries some weight that actually belongs to reputation. Every percentage I gave you a minute ago has some reputation mixed into it, and nobody knows how much. The markup example shows it perfectly. Fancy markup concentrates among sophisticated operations. Sophisticated operations win citations for many reasons. That's exactly how Google can say the markup isn't required for its AI features, while the pattern still shows up in the data. Both are true at once, and if that no longer confuses you, you've learned the layers lesson. So use these percentages to decide what to work on first. Just don't expect that hitting a number in a study means you'll get the same result. The third layer, what gets taken from your page once you're picked? Analysts trace finished answers back into cited pages, and what the AI takes follows a clear ranking. Compared to ordinary prose, code examples, meaning the blocks of programming code on technical pages, get lifted at about 77% higher rates. Now you probably don't publish code, but hold on to why it wins, because the same reason applies to everything you do publish. Data points get lifted at about 62% higher rates. Definitions, about 57%. Comparisons, about 55%. Look at what those four have in common. Each one is a complete piece that makes sense on its own. The AI can lift it out whole and drop it straight into an answer. So how you package information decides what gets used, not just how good the information is. Name voices win too. In these analyses, passages quoting named experts got cited about 70% more than the same passages without them. And notice the layers are green again. The Princeton experiment proved that adding expert quotes helps you get picked. And this layer shows what happens after. Once you're picked, those quotes are what the AI actually takes. Position matters as well. About 44% of citations draw on the opening third of a page. Put your answers early. That's the part of the page these systems actually pull from. And one finding to file away, the platforms read differently. In these analyses, perplexity spreads wide. It pulls from around 16 sources per answer, taking a little from each. ChatGPT goes narrow, around 7 sources, and it takes more from each one. Same content, 2 different games. Put all 3 layers together, and the factors organize into 4 families. Think of them as 4 questions the selection process considers for every passage. Relevance. Does this passage answer the question fully and directly? That's the completeness finding, the strongest pattern in the data. Structure. Can it be cut cleanly and quoted whole? That's the clarity numbers and the lifting rankings agreeing from 2 directions. Trust. Should it be believed? Real evidence, meaning numbers, sources, and named voices, is the only factor confirmed at every single layer. And freshness. Is it current? 28% for pages updated within the past 2 months. And freshness is special for one reason. It's the only factor you can manufacture on a schedule. One more thing worth noting. Google has described what its AI overviews select for: direct answerability, structural clarity, and source authority. That maps onto these families almost 1-to-1. The official statement and the measured evidence, they both agree. A lesson like this earns its credibility by what it refuses to endorse. So here's what has no support in any of the 3 layers. Length for its own sake. The research rewards complete coverage, not word count. And padding actively hurts because it waters your passages down. Question-shaped headings wrapped around non-answers. That's theater. It fails the completeness test exactly where it pretends to pass it. Having AI reword your content to sound more AI-friendly. Nothing new gets added, and clarity usually gets lost. And adding the experiment numbers together for a combined lift, we already covered why that doesn't work. Notice the common thread. Each one copies the look of something that works without the substance behind it. A question heading looks like a direct answer, but there's no answer under it. Padded length looks like thorough coverage, but nothing new gets said. And these systems keep choosing the substance, not the look. Last piece. Every study I've named today is aging as we speak, because the platforms keep changing. What doesn't age is evidence you build yourself, in your own category. And you can do it with a few hours a month. Here's the method. Pick 10 to 20 questions where being cited actually matters to your business. Run each one on 2 or 3 AI platforms and save the full answers with their citations. Date everything. Then trace each citation back to the exact passage it came from. This step is the revelation. You'll see, concretely, that a specific self-contained passage won. Not a page, not a brand, a passage. Then score the winners against the 4 families. Complete, direct and early, backed with numbers and named voices, recently updated. Then turn the same lens on your own content, wherever you competed and lost. Log it, repeat monthly. Within a quarter, you'll have your own evidence for your own category on your own platforms. And remember that 3.2 times claim from the start of this video? The next time a vendor shows you a number like that, you won't have to take their word for it. You can check it against what actually wins in your own category. Let's compress the lesson. Evidence comes in 3 layers. Experiments prove cause. Patterns point your attention, and how the AI models read guides your writing. Real evidence in your content, numbers, sources, and named voices, is the one proven cause. Princeton measured it at up to 40%. Knowledge from the observational studies has some reputation mixed into it. What gets quoted is self-contained, early, and shaped with clear edges. Be the source of a fact, not the 15th reinstatement of it. And build your own evidence. It's the only kind that doesn't age. The next time someone shows you a citation statistic, you know the 3 questions. Changed or observed? What rides along? Picked or quoted? Ask them, and watch the claim sort itself out. If this lesson was useful, hit the like button and subscribe for more content like this. Thanks for watching.